one of these two cameras you're looking at is a webcam and one is a DSLR. Which one is which? If you can't tell by now, well then, you may be in for a treat and I may be saving you some money. Let's take a look at which one of these cameras is the webcam and which is the DSLR. Flip the script. I'm going to give you a second chance to guess which is the webcam. And if you can't, well, then you probably don't know much about cameras. What? The one on your left, the one I'm not looking at, is the webcam by YoloLiv. It's the Yolocam S3 by YoloLiv. I am surprisingly shocked at the image quality I'm getting out of this camera right here, which is a full-on webcam. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know I've reviewed lots and lots of AI, modern 1080p 60 4K webcams ranging from $100 to $200 and above. From all those cameras that I've tested, the OpSpot, the eMeet, you name it, the different varieties of OpSpot cameras. The best image quality I've gotten out of all those cameras is this one right here. Now, if you notice that there is in fact bokeh, yes, you get a background blur. You can notice that background, the wall little thing right here, the image, that's blurred out. Maybe not as much as you see on the DSLR on your right side, but it definitely has some depth of field, which I have not been getting from any of those AI smart webcams on the market right now. Looking at some of the specs real quickly here regarding the Yolocam S3, pretty impressive stuff, starting with the pretty large sensor. That's right, pretty large, probably one of the largest on a tiny little webcam like this. It does in fact support 4K 30 FPS, 1080p 60 obviously, and a lot of the stuff that's below it just about up to 720. The f-stop 1.85, big wide range in terms of like white balance, PDAF, yep, phase detection, autofocus. This is fantastic in some of the more modern new cameras. 4x digital zoom. Wait till you see what this zoom looks like in the software, because you wouldn't even be able to tell that it's digital zoom. 82-degree field of view. You see it's kind of wide. You can see my wire hanging from my light in the back plugged into the wall because the light just went off. I lost battery. 24mm focal length. So that's also another reason why you're getting bokeh with a webcam. Yes, and it looks nice with nice natural light and some artificial lighting I got going on. And the colors out of box are pretty good. You can make them even better. Okay, guaranteed no overheating. You should still be able to get good performance out of this camera even when the camera gets warm. So running at 1080p 60, it gets a little warm, you're not going to drop frames. You shouldn't drop frames. That's the guarantee. Let's go ahead and jump into the software. Here we are with the software, Takers and Gamers. Pretty nice stuff. I've been going through it for a while and messing and tinkering with settings and creating an account, because that's how you get some of the AI parameters to work. So right now I'm focusing on my face. So you're going to see the tracking in the software itself. Area focus, which is going to focus in the middle, which is probably good if you want to do like product demonstrations and it's not always looking for your face. So that's probably the way you want to go with that. And then you have AFS focus, which is like a spot focus right in the center. So you got to be careful, because if you get off center, you could lose focus on your face. But I like the face focus, and it works really good if it's just for a video that's for a talking head like this. Graphic settings 16:9. You can easily change this to a 9:16 for short form video, and you'll have to like flip the camera on its side, which there are two sides that are magnetic, and the magnets on it are super tough. That magnet is like, I don't know, it's really harsh on both, so it snaps into place. And that bad boy is not coming off. Okay, 30 hertz, 60 hertz. So I noticed that when I change the hertz, it changes it from 4K to 1080p based on the hertz change. It doesn't have a resolution change. So right now you're looking at 4K on this camera, and it is running at 30 hertz. You can turn it to 25 hertz if you want to go a little bit slower for a more cinematic movie style recording. But I find that 30 hertz is probably the better content creation frame rate you want to use. If I change it to 60, well, it just changes in the app, and you'll see that you'll get some nice smoothness, but you get a little crop factor when you turn to 1080p 60. If you notice, good frame rate, but you crop in just a little bit. So let's go back to 4K 30. Okay, here we are at 4K 30, looking sweet, nice 82-degree field of view here. Contrast at 50, I think is ideal You don't want to go any higher because then you start getting too dark in your blacks unless you're looking for that kind of effect. And if you go any lighter, maybe there's too much contrast. Right here could be fine if you wanted to wash out some of the black and you see more detail there. Here is where things get interesting with the zoom. So right now, this is just the standard, right? Focal length you're gonna get, but when you zoom, let's push it up. Whoa, right into my eyeballs. Look at how sharp that zoom is. My God, you can see like the little bit of pimples I'm getting on my forehead. I don't know what, I gotta stop eating butter and candy and chocolate. Let's go halfway, which is 2x. Wow. Look at the sharpness. Look at the detail you can get like in my white old beard. Quite amazing. And if I go even closer, let's look at the sharpness on the beard now. Look at that digital zoom. Oh, look at the skin texture. The zoom on this is amazing. So if you needed to crop yourself in just a bit, so I don't get like the wires over there showing in my shot, and I wanted to crop in a little bit and sit back, it will be fine. And you would get the best and sharpest look here with a digital zoom. No way. No freaking way. None of these other webcams I've tested in my past several videos. I was about Amy. None of them do this. All right. I'm glazing right now. What? AI parameters. This is an interesting one. Now for this, you had to create, you won't be able to do it without creating a login. So I already did that. This will start tuning your visuals based off of your settings. So you will see, it will give you some prompts, right? Please try to keep the scene and people stationary after the host enters the frame, right? So you stay in your frame and you allow it to do the AI, I guess, parameters, which is going to optimize your imagery based off of your lighting, your setting, your colors, your frame rate, your aperture, and then it gives you options to pick here which you think is best appealing to you. I like this one here, but not sure I like that it's getting blown out here. This is too bright. I think this one's good. We're going to confirm on that right one there. Okay, and it's going to continue to try to optimize, and I believe it's going to give you another option again when you get to about 75 or 100%. Let's see what happens. Okay, confirm another image here. Again, I like this. The middle's too cool. The left is a little too dull. I like the kind of natural warm temperature I'm seeing here on the right. And I think I'm going to choose that. We'll choose that on the right one and then confirm. And now we have an AI optimized image. Do I like it? Not so much. I do like the skin tone. It has compensated for the contrast, so it bumped up some of that darkness to bring up. Now you can see more of the black texture and kind of turn a little bit gray, but you get a little bit of exposure blowing out here. So maybe not the best as far as AI parameters. I know what it's trying to do, but for my eyes and visual aesthetic, it's not particularly something I like, but it works if your scene is too dark. For me, it was maybe the AI settings thought it was too dark and my skin tone was off because I have purple lights. So it's probably trying to auto adjust harshly. It's white balance and getting rid of a lot of that purple, but I rather just reset that, confirm, and keep it to the setting I had. I could probably bump up the brightness a little bit, honestly. So with that, we'll jump to the next, which is exposure. Right now it's on auto exposure, and that's probably is doing an okay job. I think perhaps right here is a good, decent exposure. If I go to auto, this is what auto is going to look like, right? A little dark, but it kind of does nice with the contrast, but maybe I can bump it up a little bit, right? A little bit of tweaking here. I'm just messing around with it. Eventually I'll dial something in that I like. I thought the white balancing feature here was really good for what you can do. Right now it's on auto and it's looking good. I don't really have to do anything with white balance here. Let's go to manual and see what it can do, right? So off the rip, it's going to go to 5,000 Kelvin, which is too warm. So I feel like 3,500 was really good. 3,500, right? 36, 3,500 right here was fine. But if you feel like it's too warm in your setting, right? For example, if I were down here and I felt like, okay, it's a little bit warm and I wanted to do a blue offset, you can tick that up and you notice that it'll change based off of which parameter you're changing. So this is going to be your blue offset. So I can cool it off if I felt it's too warm, but now it's like too purpley or something like that. So you have to manage both. So you'd have to bring down your warm temperature, or you can just kind of click into this graph and find different blue and red offsets or color temperatures, right? So you can easily find it actually, right? I feel like I can probably get a little bit more warmness here. So I would just go down into the warm area And if I wanted to get a little bit cooler, I can go this way to kind of get balance off warms and cools. And this looks good. And if I wanted to introduce a little bit more yellow, I can go towards the yellow, come down to red, right? So this is a good skin tone here, and maybe just bring a little coolness to it. I got a pretty normal balanced image here. Okay, so there is something else here that's quite interesting. We have a little color tab here on the left, and that will allow you to granularly go even further deeper into the rabbit hole of color setting your imagery. Yes, color modifications up the wazoo. As you can see here, I have warped some of the colors already, but let's go to the original grid, and we'll go to fast. There are a couple of modes here you can do. Let's capture the image, and let's see what it does. It's going to capture the image like such, and then you have your color picker, and you can choose how to change your image. Right now, this is the standard out of the box. I look like I'm depressed in that image, but okay. Now, for example, the image looks good, but there's a tweak I can do that I can see, and it looks a little bit warm. So let's touch on some of the skin tone here, which is on the warmer side, which I think is like here. And you notice that it's going to like bring up the piece of the color wheel that it's actually tapping into, which is in fact that warm. Depending on what you touch, right, the wheel will turn to those respective areas. I have yellow, it's gonna go there, orange, whites in the center, but let's attach some of this red right here, right? And we can kind of tweak that going from there, see like a little arrow to there, and that will make it a lot warmer, but we don't want to make it warmer. We want to make it a little bit less saturated or less warm, right? So we're going to go more towards the center. We can go up to go yellow, use a little bit more yellow tone, which doesn't look bad actually. So right here, this will kill off the red as opposed to being on this side. So I might do something like that, and that will fix that overly warm temperature I was having on the left side of my face, right? So that's good right there. And then we can go over to the professional, right? We'll confirm. And right here we have our set original grid. These are the preset grids that I had before. So let's go to the original grid and let's select a color, for example. Let's go to this purple. It'll show you where on the grid that particular color resides on your color wheel. You can either boost it up if you wanted to make it more purpley, right? Drag that all the way up or reduce it. A lot of little options here. You can auto lock it so it never changes again, and you're good. You can save your draft, name it to draft 2, confirm, and it will be one of your drafts. So if you go here to your presets, you'll see that you have your presets down here, your drafts. You have your best image, which I had, confirm. It'll switch it based off of my image, and then it'll go to draft 2 and confirm. All right. And then if we go back to our colors here, to our image, it's based off of an image I set in those color settings. So not bad. That's kind of something you see for my video editors out there. You see in DaVinci Resolve. If you're an editor, you know how to mess around with colors, you're gonna like that. Now, the cool thing about the application itself is that when you're changing your settings, for example, and you dial in something that you want to make or save for a particular setting, be it your lights are different from another light up setting, you can adjust your image setting here completely, do your exposure and everything, make sure everything is as bright as you like. You can set your white balance however you like to set it, right? And then when you do that, you can set your zoom factor to here, for example. Well, maybe not that much. Maybe you want a zoomed in shot, right? Your focus, you want your focus to be on your face, for example, so that way it's always sharp. And once you have this all set up, right, you can go and save the scene. Save your scene, and you can call it my close-up scene, right? We'll just call it close up. You can't create spaces here. It has to be like all one word. Close up, and we'll just click confirm. Now this becomes saved as one of your scenes. And if you go down to your scene settings, you see I have 3 scenes already set. So this is a close-up scene that I have just set. Then I have a number 1 scene, which is my best scene, which is going to change up my lighting and everything and zoom out to the particular place, color temperature, all of that exposure set. And then here is the basic standard scene that comes out of box. If you notice, it's a little dark, a little bit too warm or saturated in some areas. So it's definitely darker. So I touched that up here with this scene here where I brightened it up a little bit, adjusted the exposure, toned down some of that warmness in the skin, and then we can go to the close-up scene. So you can kind of just switch these scenes interchangeably, right? So I don't think there's a limited amount of scenes you can make, so you can just kind of just switch them out here as you like. And when you switch it, there's a gradual switch, at least with the zoom, right? If I zoom out, it's just going to zoom out. It's not going to just jump to the next scene. So it looks pretty good, and it adjusts your color, your lighting, your exposure, everything you set in that scene. You can also set zoom factor. So my number one, right about zoomed in really close to my face, that will be set as the number one on my numpad, digital one. Okay. And then here it will set it to digit 2. All right. So if I wanted to go to my digit 2, there you go. It's set to my number 2 key on my keyboard. And if I hit 1, it's going to go zoom in to 1. And if I want to set 3, I can zoom all the way in. I don't know why we zoomed in. So I have 1, 2, 3, set it to 3. All right. So we have 1 zoomed in a particular place. 2, this is my camera zoomed in here. And then 3 is going to zoom all the way in to my pores and my pimples. What? Last but not least, I wanted to go through a little bit of low light so you can see what it looks like with kind of all my lights off and just some natural lighting from outside through the shade. Looks pretty fantastic. Does some good superior low light management and still keeping a lot of that detail in my beard and in my hair. So whether you're in low light, bright light colors, this YoloCam does it all. Fantastic. All right, let's wrap it up. If you weren't able to guess right at the beginning, well, newsflash, these webcams are becoming better and better and catching up to smartphone quality as well as the DSLR qualities right here with the Yolocam S3. It's doing some fantastic stuff here with its imagery, its focus, the aperture, the f-stop, the bokeh, the AI. That's right, AI assisted imagery enhancement, 4K 30. The 4K 30 looks fantastic. Zooming in, look at the definition in my face, in my beard. You can see the skin texture there, all the way zoomed in. Wow, that's amazing. Zooming all the way in to 4X. I mean, probably doing a little bit of AI enhancement, but my lord, that looks fantastic. Okay, it is more expensive than the Tiny 2 Lite, the eMeet, Pixie, and those cameras, which are pretty good, which have the features of gimbal and tracking and some advanced AI features that do those things. But if you don't need all of that, but you want superior DSLR iPhone camera imagery, color, HDR, some bokeh as well, as you can see. Wow, I'm impressed, YoloCam. I almost didn't have time to or even want to do this webcam review. I've been doing a lot of them. I said I need to take a break from webcams and say, you know what? Let me give them a shot. I've been hearing some good things about it. So, and I'm kind of glad I did. And I'm glad I did because I get the opportunity to show you out there to see what a camera like this looks like. My lord, this is pro level imagery. If you're interested, links are in the description. Get yourself a little discount. I think YoloLiv gave me a little bit of a discount link for you guys out there to get a little bit. It's not a cheap camera, so whatever little bit of discounts I can provide to you guys, fantastic. All right, take it, gamers. I'm done rambling with that. I'll see you in the next video. Later.